So you know what it is. Watching these Broncos, they're looking kind of tough right now. They're looking really tough. And I wish they were playing a whole lot worse than they're playing now. Got that Niners fan over here, bang bang booty gang over here. They're playing tonight too, so 22-9. Jesus. But like I've been saying, when we do good on our preseason is when we're horrible during the season. So what I'm thinking is if we're decent, building, getting the pieces together, we might have a good shot this season. Like everybody's like, oh, playoffs, this, that. I mean, that'd be amazing. But at the same time, I mean, Pete Carroll just coming in and we're going straight to the playoffs. We got Gino, we got Genty, we got you know straight to the playoffs. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a good possibility. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't see us going straight to play. I mean, wild card maybe, but watching the Broncos right now, and then seeing we just lost by 3 against San Fran, tied in the first game. You know, my Raider Nation probably not even up right now because it's only 12:20. I mean, Denver's defense is just Sean Payton's another guru that everybody sleeps on. But see, I watch all football because if you just watch your team, you're not really gonna be educated. but I think tonight we just need to. Our offense needs to get it together. Offensive line. That's the whole. That's the whole point of what we got going right now is our offensive line needs to stand up and do your job.
Karma Automotive, Forbes magazine's most anticipated luxury electric vehicle. Karma Automotive is a luxury.
We got Pete Carroll coming on.
You're listening to the pregame presented by Twitch on the Raiders Podcast Network. Welcome inside another edition of the pregame presented by Twitch. Vince Sapienza here, coming from Raiders HQ, but I am not alone. I am with 8-year NFL veteran, a former Raiders running back. He's an analyst, an actor, best-selling author, Dancing with the Stars champion, and a philanthropist as well. He's Rashad Jennings joining us on the pregame presented by Twitch. Rashad, we've made it to preseason game number 3. The finale in Arizona is upon us. I cannot help but look forward without looking behind us a little bit. And the performance we saw at Allegiant Stadium against the San Francisco 49ers, and let's just call it the arrival of Ashton Jeanty. I know I could just picture you at your home, all smiles, seeing what Ashton Jeanty did against the 49ers. What did you make of it?
Jeanty, listen, I'm telling you, we got a glimpse, just a glimpse, a smidget, a fraction, right, of what he is going to be in the NFL. Ashton Jeanty debut wasn't of what we expected, negative yards, but opening up drive. First of all, a completion to Bowers. That's what we're going to say. A lot of back shoulders to Bowers. I love how
A lot of Bowers.
But the very first play that Jeanty had the ball in his hand, it was just physical. And he was physical the whole entire time he had the ball. To the point where you almost said, come on, man, save that for regular season, please. It was collision, him and a linebacker. He bounced off. He got the better half of it. Both players went out because of that collision. Jeanty came back. I don't think the defender did. And he's just a bruiser. 101. Perfect situation down in the red zone, 1-on-1. It was 3rd and 5, folks. 3rd and 5 is something that you're going to find yourself in that fringe. What do? Do you run? Do you pass? 3rd and 5, they handed the ball off to him, got 7 yards. That's the kind of efficiency that we're expecting, wanting, he expects, wants from himself. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that we got to see a little glimpse because he's just warming up. He is a cannonball. He's physical, he's agile, he's versatile, catch out the backfield. He's short, he's slither, he can get behind blockers. You can't find him. He all of a sudden pops out in an open field, and no safety wants to see that, as we've seen. So I'm excited about him. I know it's a lot of pressure on a young kid, being a first round draft pick, high top 10, going to the Raiders. So him just showing that, I think, made everybody sink in their seat just a little bit more for the season.
Okay, so I know this is called the pregame, but I have to rehash what we saw because we learned after the fact that he leaves the game after getting that big pop on that catch that he made. We found out he got a stinger. Okay, he was good to go, went back in the game, and then we saw him run over, as you mentioned, and then cap the drive off with a touchdown. But he revealed to us that was the first stinger he's ever incurred in his football career.
First one.
Now, as someone who's never played the game, that seems stunning considering watching him, the way he plays the game and everything you just described, being so physical, absorbing contact. How big of as someone who played the position, how surprising is it that we just witnessed his first stinger of his football career?
That's unusual. Let's say, now if he would have said, I just started playing football for the first time in college last year, okay, maybe you get away with that. But to be able to play through Pop Warner, middle school, high school, all your college career, all those rushing yards, and his yards comes after.
Let me reiterate on this. This is the first time he had a stinger ever, ever. That's that's amazing because one, that means he doesn't get touched. Two, that means he runs through people. And three, that means like he just he's got the elusiveness. He don't have to make contact.
Contact again, folks. He has 1,500 yards in college football of yards after contact, and you didn't get any stingers. I mean, well, let's just put it
No
like this.
stingers?
The way he runs, he must have been given all the stingers. There was some stinging going around. But that's good. That shows he's durable. He's stout, he's strong, and he hopefully and prayerfully is going to have a healthy season. And if he does, it's going to be tough in that AFC West.
Yeah, it was funny. You saw him leaving the blue tent smiling, and all of a sudden the press box, you're like, what could he possibly be smiling about? But again, as we learned, he didn't know what had happened because he had never felt that that injury before. Yeah. So interesting nonetheless. But, as we're sitting there watching the game where it's like, hey, that's the last we're going to see Ashton Jeanty till week 1 in New England. But in this last week, we heard Pete Carroll say, hey, everybody's live ahead in Arizona preseason game number 3, and then
let's go.
We got to speak with some of the assistant coaches.
Everybody's live. That means all the starters. We're here to show out. This is the 3rd preseason game. We're gonna show out. We're in Arizona. This is now the best of the West. We have to compete against Arizona and California because we're in Nevada. We're in the middle. We got Seattle up north. And ain't nobody worried about Texas. Texas is about to wash off.
Yesterday, they insinuated we might actually be seeing some of the starters in this preseason finale against the Cardinals, and I think there was a prevailing thought of, okay, that's interesting. So I want to throw it to you. When you hear that we might actually see and watch some of the starters play a little bit of time against Arizona, what does that tell you as a former player? What does that tell you as the messaging heading into wrapping up this opportunity in training camp?
I love it. I think Pete Carroll reminds me a little bit of personally when I played in the game with the Giants. Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin was an old school player. Old school coach, and that's exactly I feel like what Pete Carroll still is. He's old school football. They made like I said, 35 still running the ball. They want to run first, want to play hard defense, get big guys out there, be physical, annoying.
You heard that, run first. Look, all I know about the Raider offense is we are a smash mouth, no hose bar, stop us if you can. And we need to get back to that. It started with Bo Jackson. I remember. Like, we had smash mouth run offense. I mean, we had a quarterback that could throw the ball with Stabler and people like that, but it was run first, and that's what I love about the Raiders because we are smash mouth football, hit you in the mouth, and stop us if you can.
Lots of tight ends, lots of running backs, play special teams, just getting on your nerves because they're always in your face kind of a guy. And I think in order to play that kind of caliber of football, you need to have your guys tuned up. And in order to do that, you got one preseason game. Consider this, folks, like a bye week. This is a bye week, and we're about to go fight for the Super Bowl. And if you're doing that, you don't want your guys bed rest for 2 weeks. Because your practice, you're not going to be taking anybody to the ground. So this is your last tune-up, full speed contact against some other players who are fighting for their career.
Yep.
And then you get to see the best football. So I think the first couple series
fighting for their career.
You get your starters, but then you got to release the hounds. You got to see what your depth is going to be.
Let the boys go.
Some people are going to be cut that you're surprised about. Some people are going to make the team that you're surprised about. You got to get them in some high pressure situations early.
And again, if the starters do play, I guess shame on us or anybody that would be surprised, because Pete Carroll has sent a consistent message that they're going to use every opportunity available to them to get better. And they're treating this as, hey, you're not just going to throw away a preseason game. Let's use this as an opportunity to get better, and all the points that you just made as well. What does this do for the players? I'm not even talking about the starters now or those that are going to have impacts on this regular season, but the guys that are fighting for spots, right? The guys that are fighting for the 53. Now they might not have as many reps as maybe they previously thought heading into the final preseason game. What does that do in terms of them kind of ratcheting it up, being like, hey, I still got to make the most of every rep I get because I don't know how many I'm going to get?
Yeah, it's very important. And because of that, we, as a player, we already know our limitations and our opportunities are squandering away because of the 3 games. Now, during practices, we're taking advantage of one-on-ones. During practices, we're taking advantage of all the special team reps. So our team has the film on us. But now you're auditioning for 31 other teams when you put your resume out there. So now what you are preparing yourself for is to show, listen, not only can I produce in this program,
Damn, Rams looking
I have
good
the
too.
capability and I'm coachable to play anywhere, because some guys are going to get cut and traded, and some guys are going to make the practice squad and get pulled off the practice squad to other teams. So as an athlete, I tell it's just like corporate America. You are trying to put your best foot forward for your boss, and you are in a room full of CEOs that are trying to figure out who they want to be their next employee. So you're always going to have your best shoes on, no matter what.
All right, so slow feet don't eat. I think that is the saying. So we got to see if everybody is ratchet up, ready to go. When you look at this Raiders team, and you know, Pete Carroll's going to say they're going to compete right up until they have to cut down the roster, right? I think we did the number 1,100 and change throughout the NFL are going to see their dreams cut short, at least for the moment, during roster cut down.
Broncos
For
looking
the
scary.
Raiders, though, when you look at this squad, how many spots and what position groups are you kind of looking at that are really up for grabs, that really kind of, you need to show me something in Glendale, Arizona?
So I'm gonna do a little timeout. I'm gonna say that the Broncos are looking hella scary right now. I'm watching some of the Chargers, or the Rams. I'm sorry, the Rams. Their defense looking kind of scary. I mean, they're playing Shadur, and it's not going too well for them. But
Yeah, up for grabs. You know, obviously not the starting quarterback position. I don't think that's up for grabs at all. We know that's Geno Smith going into this season, but that backup is kind of like becoming a nice battle in a boxing match that you kind of want to see. Like if it was up to me, I would give potentially. I want to see Cam Miller go out there first, and I want to see William Connell go second, playing behind each other, because there is I will say this, folks, Cam Miller is almost, and I think he can understand this as an athlete, playing with a little bit of house money. Because, and if I'm his agent, you know, I'm knowing there's no way that the Raiders are going to put him on practice squad, because he's going to be yanked from what he's shown. So you can go out there and actually just play your game hands-free every time, because you're the last guy. But if you're going out there first in front of O'Connell, now it's a little bit more pressure, and we're telling you we want to see what you do now. And I would like to see what he does under that kind of pressure. But either way, I think they're.
so I'm gonna touch on a little bit of that. I think we should get rid of O'Connell. I think O'Connell should have been fired last year. He should have been gone. Um, he is like just a waste of space. Um, I really don't like the guy. If you know anything about what happened during the Niners game, I kind of I tried to meet him on the sideline, and it was going to get really bad because he threw an interception, and he shouldn't have been on the field. That's my feelings, and that's how I feel about that guy. AOC should not be a football player. He should not be on the football field. He should not be anywhere around a football stadium, especially the Raiders. And that's how I feel about that guy.
Cam Miller is one guy that I'm very curious about. I want to see more reps and see what he does in more pressure situations.
So it feels like a lot of that is going to be on the offensive line. Cam Miller obviously showed himself very well in Seattle. A tough struggle against San Francisco. I think coaches definitely want to see how he kind of.
Hold on.
Do our best to get it right. So what happens when the ball goes wrong? That's when we have to get it right. But that disorders have many family children. But do these kids are right?
I don't understand. I don't.
With him and the cash she gave me at the game and what she sent yesterday, she's like, so because he used my footsteps, I was like, no, don't worry about that. And she's like, no, it's okay. I don't know.
Bounds, what he's learned from that game against the 49ers as well. But if the starters do play, I think all our eyes are going to go to Jackson Powers Johnson and Alex Kappa, if and how much he plays, right? Alex Kappa has not played this preseason. He missed 5 straight practices with a rib injury. He returned earlier this week on a limited basis on Tuesday. Wednesday, he definitely ratcheted up and was in that rotation with the starting offensive line. They were not in pads on Thursday. So how much we will see of Alex Kappa or the starting offensive line remains to be seen. But if that is, and it looks to be, Rashad, a true battle going on at that right guard spot, it almost feels imperative that we see them Saturday in Arizona.
Yeah, and that's a good match to watch. I think when you look at the offensive line, you think about depth. That is something that is much needed, especially at the guard position, and guys that can go from center to guard. Like there's a few guys on the Raiders team. For the starting job, though, we're curious. What's that makeup going to look like? And I tell you what, as a running back, one of the things that is important to me is to know who's my offensive line and how they work together. Because I tell you this,
That's what I said. The puzzle pieces. Who can open the holes up? How can they open the holes up to get Genty to the back to the second? You know what I'm saying? Like third, all the way down the field. Like, how are we gonna be able to let him do Genty?
quick little story, but I don't want to give him the name, but there was one offensive lineman, it was a guard, and he played left guard from time to time, that wasn't as efficient as the right guard. So, no problem. As a runner, I have to understand that. So, if we're running to the left, behind that left guard, and I know odds are he's going to lose his match, right? So, as I receive the ball from Eli, what I do is not penetrate as hard. Why? Because I know he's going to be in my face. So I go to the left and I'm slower, and I use his lack of ability for my ability. It's not about having the best offensive line as a running back. It's about being efficient with what you know you're getting. And so I think it's important for Genty and the running backs to get used to whoever they're running behind and don't expect everybody to dominate every play. It's just like a quarterback. Sometimes you got to throw back shoulder. Sometimes you lead them in front. You have to put the ball where you know it's going to be the best position for your player. It's the same thing as a running back, but I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, we think we're going to keep them all because we need the depth, but it's very fun to watch.
Let's keep it on the offensive side a little longer before we jump over to the defensive side and stay with the right backs. I think Raheem Mostert is a name that's kind of been a little interesting, at least the last week or so, because it feels like watching practices and looking at the reps, Zamir White is kind of entrenching himself as that guy behind Ashton Genty. And if that is indeed the case, well, nothing is official right now, but if that is indeed the case, what does that mean for Raheem Mostert? If the expectation is 4 running backs on the roster, and Ashton, Samir, Dylan Lobby has proved his worth on special teams, where does Raheem Mostert kind of fit in? And how much will you be looking into how much Raheem is or is not playing?
I feel like they're gonna they're gonna use they use that 1-2 punch. Like Genty's gonna push it down the field, and then Mostert's gonna come in and be like the bus and just take it into the end zone.
In the preseason finale or something.
It means a lot. If he's playing more, I think they're trying to evaluate the situation. If he's not playing, I think they've already moving elsewhere. But the thing about Raheem Mostert is kind of curious of what you're alluding to a little bit there, special team play. All these other guys, all the other backup running backs that we believe can make the roster, play special teams, right? Has shown up on special teams in a bright way. Mostert hasn't really played special teams. Not saying that he can't, but because he's not part of that plan, it's like you have to be a solidified 1.5 to number 2 running back to make a roster if you're not dominating or playing or contributing to special team play. So he is a guy that we will see this week. If he's playing a lot, he's getting evaluated, and if he's not, we know that he's on the team.
Okay. So let's jump to the defensive side of the ball now. And a guy that a lot of people have been talking about this week in particular is Tyree Wilson. And Rashad, I know you probably saw the video of his press conference. Shirtless, going the Max Crosby route. No top on during his interview. I don't know if a player has felt himself more than Tyree Wilson did after that practice. He was grinning ear to ear. He was smiling. He was cracking jokes. He was, again, he seemed like he was feeling himself. And rightfully so. He's a guy that has had a really good training camp. They placed him everywhere in the defensive line. And coaches always tell me year 3 for any player, regardless of the situation, year 3 is a massive year for a number of reasons, contractually, production-wise, and expectations, right, of where they need to be if they want to be successful and have a long career in the NFL. Talk to me about your impressions of Tyree Wilson, the expectations of what this team needs from him and what he needs to show for himself as well.
I think he's a rare talent, man. He should be excited. He's first-round draft pick out of Texas Tech. He can play anywhere on the football field, the defensive line, specifically. You can line him up inside, outside. He's versatile. He can set the edge. He also gives more depth and room for Booker to come in, play inside. I mean, when you 6'7", and can carry 280 pounds and move, like you should be smiling ear to ear. You found your home in the NFL. No, you're gonna get paid. And he's not only doing it, he's doing that with the Raiders. And the fact that Max Crosby is on one edge, he can be on another edge and build that camaraderie. He's a guy that is a difference maker on the defensive line, and he's kind of going to be a potential star when you but when you're scouting for the defense and you're scouting for the offense, that could potentially be the star on his name. So he's a rare guy, and I'm excited to see week 1 where he lines up. Is he going to be a defensive end, or is he going to be in the interior staff?
Yeah, on the unofficial depth chart right now, he's listed as behind Max Crosby, but everything we've seen in training camp, while he might not be a quote-unquote starter, right, he has been that 5th guy. He's been playing on the inside on passing downs, and it's not necessarily if Malcolm Kuntz needs a blow, it's not Charles Snowden going in, it's Tyree Wilson. So he's kind of that number 5 guy, if you will. So he's going to get a lot of run. I think he's going to blow past his snap count from a season ago, which can only, hopefully for the Raiders, mean his production goes up as well. All right, one more I want to get to is a guy that I think we talked about him last week, and we're going to continue to talk about him until we're literally blue in the face, and that is Kyu Blu Kelly, Bishop Gorman grad, local guy. He was a reserve. This is a guy who was playing 14 snaps, 13 snaps at a sort of training camp, and he is named a captain along with the other Las Vegas guys against the 49ers. He gets the start on defense opposite Eric Stokes against San Francisco, and he just continues to kind of be a guy Pete Carroll seems to really be fond of.
Yeah, and this is a Hollywood story, and everybody loves this type of Hollywood story. The idea of who was this guy in July, and then come September, everybody wants his autograph. And, kind of the stars of coming out of preseason is one of those things you look for. You look for those Victor Cruzes of where did this guy come from, or Jalen Warren, where did this guy come from? And Blue has the potential to be, where did this guy come from? And kind of solidify himself at a position in the name in the NFL. And watching his story, homegrown, hometown, like you're cheering. I'm not putting his skill level down as him, but as far as the movie, Rudy, you want to see the guy win. It's different when he makes the interception, or it's different when he makes the tackle, or like on basketball, it's different when certain players make the dunk. It's different when Curry makes the three versus somebody else. And he's just one of those guys that when he produces, it elevates a lot of the locker room. So I'm excited for him. And this last game is going to tell a lot of where he is in the depth.
Are there guys back in the day when you were playing that you remember those were those guys, right? And you said it elevates the locker room. What did that look like in the locker room?
Oh, in the locker room, listen, when every single team, we had one of those guys that you couldn't help to champion because of his personality, his story, his work ethic, his teachability. He was kind of like the prototype player that you wanted on the team, that the coaches wanted on the team. But it was, we have a number one draft pick in front of him, or we got somebody that has uber metrics above him. He run a 4.44 flat, or, he jumps out of the gym, those type of things that kept him off the field. But every time he got an opportunity, he balled out. And we wanted him on the team just because we didn't care if he played. He's our guy, and we want him in the locker room every day to hang out with him because, believe it or not, folks, when you work in the NFL, yeah, it's about your business, about your craft. But you see these people every stinking day, train with them, work out with them, shower with them, all these things. Like, I want people around me I like. And so when he's one of those guys that's like, that can play ball, that's been under the radar, and that can be a big boost in the locker room.
All right, so, that's the fun, right? Everything's fun. We're getting to the part, Rashad, where it's the not so fun side of the business, right? Training camp is winding down. For the Raiders, 91 guys is going to drop down significantly to 53 on Tuesday. How do you not make a big deal of this preseason game, right? Like, you want to keep the main thing, I understand that. But as these players, how difficult is it to treat it like it's the Super Bowl, but also not over-treat it like it's the Super Bowl to where you don't perform and then it doesn't look good on tape, and then all of a sudden you're on the outside of that 53 come Tuesday?
You can't. It's impossible. Folks, I'm telling you right now, it's impossible, especially if you're on that fringe. If you're a 5th, 6th, 7th round guy, free agent guy, Ashton Gentile's team, best she's on the team, like all those players, fine. But everybody else, you are having a hard time sleeping. You are having a hard time staying calm because your adrenaline is going to go out of the roof. This is it. There is no tomorrow. But it's like the Olympics. You train your whole entire 4 years for one event opportunity, right? Well, the NFL, because it comes down to that there is no tomorrow to produce. If you go out there and play bad, you're calling FedEx, nothing wrong with FedEx. You're going back to school, you're trying to finish, and your life changes instantly. So you're putting everything out on the line. And that's one of the reasons where the rookie wall comes into play, because that adrenaline that you're producing and putting out on that football field, the last game to make the team, and then you do make it, and then guess what? There is no rest, because now you're going double duty, playing offense and defense, special teams, scout, all kind of stuff. Still, just because you made the team, it gets harder. So yes, folks, it's one of the best games to watch. Please watch the game with a zeal of understanding that these kids are out there putting everything on the line because they know there is no tomorrow. The last preseason game is always the funnest to watch.
Yeah, you're talking, I can't help but think of a guy like Alex Bachman, right? He's been in the league since
They're all flying around.
Never made a 53-man unit out of training camp. And he was asked, a week or so ago, what that would mean to him. And he goes, you can't even comprehend what that would mean because he's bounced around. He's fighting for his job. He's got on practice squads, but he's felt he's had perfect training camps. He felt like everything went his way, and he still didn't make it. And we don't know what the future looks like for Bachman on this team with the 53. He's had a great camp. But if you were to go back into a locker room, specifically the Raiders, Rashad, like what is the messaging you would want to give as somebody who experienced that firsthand of the pressures, of the anxiety, whether it's you or players that you dealt with and lockers beside you?
Dominate the play. Don't think dominate the game. I always said dominate the play. Right. Like the thing about it is, and this I mean, this kind of gets on a psychological level and just the metaphors and mantra. But as a professional athlete, I know I wasn't the best player on the field. I know that. I knew I wasn't going to wear a gold jacket. I knew that, right? And always honest with yourself. And for me, being honest with myself, when I was a Raider specifically, I knew Darren McFadden was the starter. There was nothing I could do about it. So the only thing that I could do is dominate the play that I'm in and go hard. There is no, oh man, I could have worked a little bit harder on that play. I could have probably, finished harder on that play. I probably could have blocked a little harder on that play. I have no regret on anything that I've ever been given because there isn't one day, one night that I could rewind tape and say, I should have got more sleep. I should have slept more. I shouldn't have went out and partied. I should have worked harder. I should have put my foot in the ground harder. None. No regrets. So the last game is just like every game. Dominate the play and go to the next one.
Well, Rashad, not only did you dominate plays, you dominated this podcast. This has been the pregame presented by Twitch for Rashad.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the only thing that I think is our offense needs to I mean he touched on it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters if your dude can block or not. But he uses the momentum of the lack of blocking. I like that. The final countdown. But these Broncos though, they're um they're looking super tough. But I don't know. I think we just need to tighten up. Shout out to Kobe. Happy birthday, Kobe. We got like 5 hours. Shout out to Dofu Sports and Stream East on all my sporting needs. But I'll get back on here on when the Raiders game is on. For now, I'm out.